So, how does the UFC do it? There's ONE FC, there's Bellator, there's a million other fighting organizations. Why is the UFC the biggest? Today, I'm going to break down everything I found about the UFC. We're going to talk about their positioning, their brand and world building, and how they make money. So, jumping straight into it, let's look at their website. We have Justin Gaethje right here, big letters, tight typography. A lot of neutral colors, white, black, grays, and then we have these big red colors. So immediately we're looking at this. This is jumping out as a poster. As we scroll down, we can see more fighters. We see Ilia Topuria, Justin Gaethje, Kape versus Horiguchi. These are. This is what's drawing our attention, right? Everything else is actually very dialed down, other than the red. And the red is very like in terms of fighting, it's very gladiatorial. There's blood, there's seeing red, there's a lot of energy that comes with the color red, and it definitely pops against all these neutral colors. And then we have all these fighters. So we already know that they're trying to draw our attention to the fighters. Why is that? Well, the more we look at the UFC, the more we'll find out that their product is the fighting. But how do they make it sexier? How do they make you want to watch? And so they build up all of these media assets about their rivalries, podcasts. We're learning about them. There's a lot of middle of the funnel stuff where we hear them speak like directly about what happened, their thoughts, how they think they're going to fight, how they think the other person's going to fight. So we get drawn into the drama. It's basically a drama. Think like back, I don't know, when like the Roman gladiator days. Like if those guys could go on an interview, everyone would be like, "What's he gonna say?" And so that's a lot of. They have a lot of this on their website. But let's take a step back and actually look at their top of funnel. Um, so this is all their socials, right? We have, I think this guy's name is like Josh Hockett. We have Bo Nickel, and we look at the photography. We can see it's very spotlight. Like these guys are celebrities. They are. He's even got it's like promotion. He's got Crypto.com. He's got some sports drink here. It's very promotional. He's now a celebrity. All these fans in the background, look, they're like jumping out. The spotlight literally coming down. And we can see this all over the place. So, like, even in the copy, spectacular fashion, celebrations. It's literally just showing their celebrations, um, showing their victories. So, this is really interesting lighting. Like, it's focused directly on them with the two belts to show that they're the guy. You know, they have the thing. It's really interesting. They're basically putting all of these athletes on a pedestal, making them celebrities, and this is how the UFC gets brand recognition. Nobody would recognize the same issue that ONE FC and Bellator have. No one would recognize the UFC if it was just their branding, because their branding is pretty boring. Like um, it's not bad. It's just like it's neutral colors, black and white, and some red. Um, it's nothing crazy. The reason they stand out is because they make their fighters into celebrities. So if I'm into UFC, I know this is Bo Nickel. I don't know who this guy is, but I know Cyril Gane, and I know Justin Gaethje, and I know Ilia Topuria, um, and like Sugar Sean, and all these guys. So once I see their faces, then I know it's the UFC. And so the UFC is basically just like a stage for gladiatorial combat, and they showcase it with glory and success and lifestyle and basically like look at all of these people who think about all like if you're a kid and you're looking at this guy that everyone's looking at as the guy, you're going to be like, wow, that is the guy. um, this is how they build everyone up. Even if we look at these are YouTube screenshots, their thumbnails are the fighters and the rivalries. Right as soon as we opened up on the White House fight with Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje, it's over the White House, this big spectacular shot, and it's the rivalry, right? It's their stats with Justin on one side and Ilya on the other side. And then you look in and you see all the people on the inside. So that this is just like the open shot to come into the experience, because what they do on socials is they manufacture you experiencing the moment. So like we see this flip as it's happening. Let's see what else. Yeah, the flip again. This is from the video. They posted the video. Even from this card, see how it says "and new." So like in my mind, I know they're saying he just won, and in the cage they're like "and new UFC champion Cyril Gane." So um, everything they do is to try and capture the moment and bring you into it. So let's actually look at their content, right, in their funnel. Um, they have a lot of fight clips, like 35 to 45% highlights, knockouts, finishes. This is top of the funnel, makes total sense. They're trying to do big, flashy things that bring you in, make you more interested. And then the next, the next 15 to 20% is glory, fighter moments, celebration. You're like, wow, like this is crazy. This guy just did a flip off the cage. I would like imagine what it would be like to do a flip off of a cage, or to be there when he won that fight and he did a flip off the cage, and you're like, oh my god, I got to see that. Like these legendary moments that makes up like 50 to 75% of all of their content is just like this very extravagant glory, gladiator stuff. And then they have, they have to promote fights, they have to get announcements, the more logistical stuff, um, face offs, trash talk. This is more timely. Like you would have to do this before a fight, and it usually like it's a bit longer form, so it would mainly be on YouTube. Behind the scenes stuff is really interesting, middle of the funnel. That would also really just mostly be on YouTube. You could clip it, but it's more useful there. And then they have again, but like look at we have merch, trading cards, collectibles. That is glory. That is making an inspiration, making people look up to them. Um, so yeah, that's a lot of what this is. So overall thesis about their positioning is they have highlights, glory, drama, and together these make you feel every single moment. You are wrapped into it. You're imagining yourself there. You can feel the emotions, and it also inspires a lot of people who maybe want to fight or do fight, or kids who are looking into it or looking into sports, and they're like, "What do I want to be interested in?" This is really really well done. As far as platforms, it seems like they were mostly Instagram heavy. They do a lot on TikTok because there's a lot of distribution they can do there. YouTube's really great at middle of the funnel, more not one on one, but like personable stuff. And then X, of course, and Facebook has a giant follower account, but Facebook's been here around forever. The engagement isn't as good. So Instagram mainly. And I actually think it's a great choice because part of making someone a celebrity is the parasocial relationship followers get. So you go on Instagram, you see them do all these things. The celebrity doesn't know who they are, but everyone else knows who they are. And Instagram's the best at doing this because Instagram is the best at building like social groups. And what humans do in social groups is we stack them into hierarchies. So when you build a parasocial bond, that celebrity is now near the top of the hierarchy. So just interesting stuff there. Um, yeah, I kind of went over a lot of this top of the funnel, middle of the funnel stuff, but just to um, talk a little bit more about it, I talked mostly about the attention capture, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're getting a lot of reach, talking a lot about the crazy stuff. Middle of the funnel is behind the scenes, face offs, things that make you go from like, oh, that was a sick knockout to like, oh, I know who this guy is, and I know there's this other guy that I saw, and they have beef. I need to see what happens. And so it builds the story, and it kind of sucks you in. And then bottom of the funnel is actually different in 2026 than it used to be. It used to be like an $80 pay-per-view subscription, but now they have a 7-year deal with Paramount Plus where you just have to subscribe, which I actually think is brilliant. They don't have to deal with spikes of pay-per-view, and $80 is also very steep. Like there's a lot of people who are going to pirate it. There's a lot of people who are just going to be like, I don't want to pay for that. So with Paramount Plus, I think like the cheapest subscription is like $13, and you can get it with that. So I think they're accessing a lot more people, and for them, it's more consistent income for every fight. Um, and so yeah, that's the biggest thing about this is that they are success glazing these fighters. Um, they want you to think these fighters are the coolest people on the planet, and therefore you will watch them and you will be interested and you want to see them get knocked out or knock out this other guy who's the coolest guy. Um, and then the UFC now becomes associated with that. And this is something every brand does, where it is a game of associations. What makes a premium brand? What makes a premium brand different from a not so premium brand? It is what I associate with it. If you look at Balenciaga, they're with supermodels, and if you look at Nike and Under Armour, they're with top athletes. If you look at the UFC, they are building these athletes into gladiatorial celebrities and then associating themselves with these celebrities. So they're building their own associations, and then all these other kind of companies, like you see a lot of crypto.com stuff. Yeah, a lot of these fintech companies want to sponsor with the UFC because there's a lot of overlapping audience. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. The UFC is super interesting. Very simple branding, actually. Most of their stuff is really just about the fighters, the rivalries, the drama. Think of it like Love Island, but like fighting. Very interesting stuff.